Hello. Hi, now how are you?
Thanks, fine. How are you, Mohammed?
I'm fine. I'm fine. How about you? How's everything good?
Yeah, yeah, everything is fine.
Okay.
Thanks for asking.
So I think let's start the session. And before starting that, I just want you to introduce yourself about what you do, what your company is, and just give us a brief introduction. So we'll take it up from there.
Yeah, sure. So I'm co-founder and CEO at a company that is called Scholar, and this company owns the product which is called EdgeLabs. And this is the Edge and IoT cybersecurity solution that is based on AI algorithms and can be deployed to different types of edge devices and IoT gateways, securing mostly distributed, constrained edge IoT environments. We've been on the market since 2017, and AI Labs is our second product, and it's been on the market since 2022.
That's great. So tell me about that's about it's something on a cybersecurity perspective. So from my side is my name is Mohammed Ali. I'm the co-founder of Cyberways. We are into the cybersecurity consultancy and services. So what I want to know from your side that everybody's preparing for JISEC exhibition, and
Yeah.
I've seen that you and your company and everyone is coming to JISEC. So I just want to know what are your preparation. This is the first question. The second one is what emerging threats you are seeing in the next 1 year, where you and your company will focus pitching it at JISEC also, and in terms of cybersecurity expert, I just want your brief overview on that. What emerging threats you are seeing in the next year? So we will discuss about
Yeah.
that.
Sure. So JSEC is very interesting event for us just because we know exactly that Middle East is investing a lot into smart cities technology. And of course, they modernize their infrastructures and prepare themselves for way more connected world, right? When those air-gapped environments that were before fully offline or at least partially offline, they become connected. And I think that Middle East, especially in this region, Dubai specifically, right, just like they are ahead of many other countries and regions in this aspect. And we have a technology that we consider is very, very important specifically for this world, just because it allows to secure those environments that become interconnected in a very, very sophisticated way, and of course in real time, which is very important, um, because all of the rest won't work so well in those environments. So yeah, so we have a booth and everyone is welcome to visit us. We prepared a bunch of very interesting things with our partners, specifically with Lenovo, Stratus Technologies, and Lanner, to showcase our solution in real time during this exhibition.
That's great. So I think your preparation looks very good. So in terms of edge security and IoT, I think IoT is in terms of emerging technology has evolved a lot in terms of even the edge security for the last years. And securing IoT is something there are a lot of vulnerabilities. These edge devices they are not patched enough in a proper way, and there has to be a cybersecurity mechanism for that to patch these devices, and 0-day vulnerabilities and everything is there. So this is one of the emerging technology which I am seeing in the last years, and is carrying on from 2023 to 2024 this year also. So what are your thoughts about that? How to secure needs your thoughts about that, how the organization can secure their IoT and edge devices, what mechanism they should follow in terms of your expert advice on that.
Yeah. Just like I think that the most important things to start with here will be to talk about the challenges, right? Just like something that you asked before. So, as you said, this is a very constrained environment, and it's constrained very often by the existing computing resources. I'm talking specifically about the devices that are sitting inside those environments. Very often, those environments will be restricted by the bandwidth, especially when it comes to energy sector and oil and gas. There are still a lot of air-gapped environments, or they will have not stable connectivity, or the connectivity will be scheduled. I mean that they still like sit most of the time offline. We need to consider that there is like this is physically accessible environment, right? Just like you can literally go and access this edge device or IoT gateway. Physically, you can push there some kinds of flashcards, and these flashcards can contain some malware or virus, right? Just like, so it's like physical threat landscape. And at the same time, you have a different type of IoT devices, OT devices, very small ones, just like pretty stupid if you can tell like this, right? Just like that's sensors literally that are ideal entry points, right? Just like, and that extends the surface attack. And that's why we will have like different types of the attacks in those environments, like multi-layer types of the attacks, zero-day attacks, as you mentioned. And it's very easy to get infected, intruded, right? Just like all malwareized, actually having those environments remotely located. Another aspect that I want to say that is very important, very often one company can have like dozens or even more locations like that will be located in different regions, even continents, right? Just like, and it's very hard to manage all of them. And it's very hard to manage because of the time zone, because of the lack of resources, because of other things. And very often, some of the sites are regulated differently because governments pose different regulations in different regions. And of course, that complicates a lot of things, and that complicates the possibility of real-time response, even if something bad happens. And I think that governs the whole approach and basically leads to the necessity of new approach to secure those environments where traditional cybersecurity solutions are not really capable to do this. And me literally, I think, and I strongly believe that the cybersecurity should be closer to those devices that are sitting inside IoT, OT, edge infrastructure, because it allows you firstly to protect them in real time. You can do detection and you can do response in real time. While with cloud-dependent solutions, you will not have that, especially in air-gapped environments or environments with unstable connectivity. And like with all of that, cybersecurity should be pretty lightweight. I mean, not by the number of features or functionality itself, but lightweight from the point of resource consumption. Right now, a lot of cybersecurity solutions and companies, right, they try to implement AI and different kinds of new approaches to detect different types of the attacks. And it's really great thing to do, but very often those models are pretty heavyweight. You literally cannot deploy them to device level, right? Just like that's why those solutions are sitting in the cloud, but being there, they are not really able to meet the challenges of IoT OT environments. So yes, I think that solution, when it comes to cybersecurity of those environments, cybersecurity should be automated. It should be closer to the data receiver, being seated on the device level, and it should be able to prevent from any type of the threat possible in that environment. And it should be scalable, right? Just like because of the lack of resources, because those environments will be located in different places and will have a lot of elements inside them.
Well, you raise a very valid point. You said that should be closer to the edge devices, cybersecurity. Also, the assessment of the vendors. Also, all these IoT and OT devices. How the cybersecurity assessment is so mandatory to ensure that what vendor we are working for. The security has to be there from the start in terms of assessment when we are, assisting a vendor and having a vendor engaged in them. So we should assist the vendor in terms of auditing wise and perspective wise. And you mentioned about AI. So let's say how it will impact the AI and machine learning, since the advent of AI and the threat landscape is increasing, so as the attack surface, and you see how this technology is evolving. So what do you see about since the AI is came into the picture, how it's helping in terms of these edge devices, in terms of response perspective and detection perspective? So you see any kind of anomalous behavior, kind of where the device can detect this kind of pattern for the bad actors and it can immediately respond. So can you just have your thoughts about that, that how AI is impacted on that?
Sure. AI and ML as a part of I think that it accelerates the cybersecurity posture and, of course, accuracy of cybersecurity itself, right? Cybersecurity defense, right? Why? Just because, firstly, like if you talk about rules-based agents that were applicable in previous periods, they are pretty predefined. That means that if anything changes on the side of adversary, right, just like they change slightly their algorithms or the technique, the rule won't be able to catch this technique anymore, just because it's like literally precisely predefined by the metrics and criterias to which rule will work. If anything changes, rule will not work anymore. That's why those rules-based agents, they are not enough flexible, and because the whole cybersecurity landscape and threat patterns, they are ever changing, right? This is the game, how it's played. You need to update those rules very often, like literally every day, and that requires a lot of resources. That's why rules-based agents are not really ideal anymore. And with that huge number of data that we have right now, it's basically very resource consumptive. While ML is designed and AI itself, they are designed to treat huge volumes of data, and you can do this way quicker than if you will do this manually. Rules will be quicker in detection some of the types of the attacks just because it's immediate, like right, just like if the criteria meet the criteria, you immediately detect this. But when it comes to huge volumes of data with a lot of hidden, just like hidden connections, graphs, clusters, rules can lead to a lot of false positives just because they are picking only some part of the picture, not the whole picture, right? So that's why AI is way more better for treating huge volumes of data, and AI itself is way more holistic when it comes to approaching different types of abnormalities and multi-layer, just because it can define the criticality of the abnormality. It can define the, just like how huge this anomaly is prospectively, right? Just like how far this anomaly is from the normal behavior, right? Just like whether this outlier is really somewhere here, right? Just like, and with all of that, you will have way better, way more sophisticated, way more flexible system that will be able to catch different types of abnormalities and classify them in milliseconds. And you don't need to update it so often. Yes, ML and AI should be retrained from time to time to support the precision and recall. But again, that does not require a lot of resources as it was with rules-based agents. The biggest challenge with AI and ML right now that it's pretty heavyweight. You need a lot of resources to support those models, especially when it comes to Gen AI, like reinforcement learning and the LLMs are pretty heavyweight. In our case, we were able to compress ML and AI models. By the way, we utilize about 20 different ML models and reinforcement learning to detect and respond to different types of the attacks at multi-layers. But at the same time, we digest only 4% of CPU, and the whole solution weighs about 700 megabytes, right? Just like, so it's very lightweight, but we spent mostly 2 years to do that, to gain such kind of results. I think that the more lightweighter AI an ML gets, the better will be results in the end, just because it will allow AI and ML to sit way closer to data receiver, and the whole approach for cybersecurity will be changed. It will be shifted, and it will be way more efficient than it is right now.
Well, that is really insightful, and I think it's the way that you relate between those two. I think that's really helpful, and for me specifically, and that's why my point was. So, as a defender, you're seeing there are more perspective in coming years where the attackers are using AI and they are using different kinds of. Have you seen the machine learning and all those aspects? You see a lot of techniques happening here. So, as a defender, we have a lot of strategies where we can overcome in future, and we can have these kind of edge devices that the detection and response and everything to ensure that we can save our infrastructure. The secondly, what my point is, as you see, the ransomware attacks and all those attacks are increasing, and it's trending in this area also. I just want to know, in terms of your solution, the first, and secondly, what proactive measures organizations should take to ensure that they can be stay ahead as a defender in terms in case there's a cyber attack in their company. So what proactively they can work, although they are working, and everybody, so also how much security you deploy, it's not more than enough. So just give some basic tips from your side. We want to know in terms of your solution and is generally how as a cybersecurity expert.
Yeah, I think that honestly speaking, a lot of things will depend on the use case, of course. But in overall, what we see that very often to secure IoT, OT, edge environments, the companies, first of all, they try to implement firewalls and asset discovery and management. And if firewall will sit on the edge of the network, it will very often secure the whole environment from the external threats, but not really secure the internal perimeter. And asset discovery and management solutions, they are really cool, and they do really important job just because they do inventorization. Basically, they are saying to you what you have inside, right? Just like what kind of protocols those devices are utilizing, what kind of OS do they have, etc. But this is passive way of monitoring, right? Just like, and it can say to you what kinds of vulnerabilities you have or gaps you have, but it will not proactively protect. And this is one of the biggest problems that I have, that a lot of organizations, they really don't think about having active or proactive security solution inside those environments. They are really afraid of it. And I think that, of course, we can talk about right now, like hardening devices. We can talk about zero trust. From my perspective, this is by default should be done. Right, it's not something that it's already something that we need to discuss. It's basically like, okay, just like it's like a prescription from the doctor. Like
absolutely, I agree. We're going beyond that now.
Yeah, we should be beyond already all of that. But still, I think that my recommendation will be to find the way to have a proactive solution sitting inside that infrastructure. That's the way for you to secure it in the best and more sophisticated way possible. As I said, there can be different types of or different ways how you can do this. You can go with honeypots, for example, the solution that is not so intrusive. I mean that you don't need to push it on all of the devices that you have inside. You can push it and let it play as a decoy, right? Just like let it catch all the possible types of the attacks that you can have, and let it help you to define what gaps and vulnerabilities you have, what you need to close, right? Where exactly you need to protect yourself. Or it can be the solution that can sit on the gateway or edge device itself, at least to monitor and secure efficiently in real time, right? Just like this environment. Or it can be other ways, whatever you consider is possible, but I would really insist on having active solution inside. Just because with all this geopolitical situation that we have, with all those novelty types of attacks like SSH snake, which is, for example, self-modifying worm that operates in fileless manner, right? Just like it's making extremely difficult to detect it or eradicate, right? Just like what are you going to do with firewall sitting on the edge of the network, protecting you from external threats only, right? Just like if you will have AI backed deepfake to phish you one of your DevOps, right? Just like like we see we saw already some type of the attacks that were done before malwarizing and attacking the infrastructure of one of our clients. The adversary used deepfake to mimic the voice one of the managers, executives. They called with that voice one of the senior system administrator slash DevOps, and they got all the credentials. They got inside very easily. So you cannot really rely basically on being air gapped just because this is still like there are still access that can be gained. You cannot really rely only on firewall just because it won't protect you from malware, for example, and endpoint types of the threats. You can't really rely only on zero trust and asset discovery and management just because, again, it won't protect you from all of the types of the attacks. You can't rely only on hardening the devices just because you can still have like phishing type of the attack, right? Just like you can have malware, you can have brute force to get the credentials, you have physical access where one of your employees, without even knowing that, they can push the flashcards inside the device, having some virus just because this flashcard was previously used to download some kind of video from the torrent, right? Just like you never know, right? And that's why you need this active protection inside. I think this is something that the majority of people diminish, and I would not really do this.
That's really, valid points. And you're saying that it should be a multi-layer kind of offensive approach. Also, I just want to add that as an organization, they should have a proper incident response. Features. They should, in case of a cyber attack, they should have a proper incident response team. They should have a cross-functional team who are doing, in terms of crisis management, communication. They have right people for the right job. All those kind of things combined together to ensure that they will be on top, and they should have a proactive approach. If they don't have incident response and all those kind of things, so nowadays it's quite mandatory. And in terms of CISOs and CIO, the messages, also the one point always discuss that how, what's your suggestion to give to the CISOs and CIOs by hearing all these kind of proactive measures should be detection, and it should be proactive and response and all those things, how they can secure the budget. There's always been a challenge where what
Yeah.
from where they should start, and how much they can secure a budget, how they can convince to their management. So if you can just highlight something on that, very advisable.
Just like I think that in the majority of cases, cybersecurity, and you're right, cybersecurity is very often treated as expense clause rather than investment, right? Just like, and very often the budget starts coming only when shit happens, if I can say like this. But it's like clearly describes the situation. I think that it's very important for CISOs and chief information officers to provide their executive management as well as the boards with the up-to-date information, firstly on directives that were approved in a number of countries, specifically in US and EU. There were already some directives issued that basically say that right now board and executive team is legally responsible for any type of incidents, including cyber incidents, if they have material effect and national security effect. I just like, with all this geopolitical situation and tensions that we cannot ignore, we cannot really ignore those macro, just like criteria, elements, obstacles that influence the whole world right now. I would say that critical infrastructure is under threat, huge threat, just because it's something that can be easily paralyzed. I'm originally Ukrainian, and I know what I'm talking about. Like cybersecurity, cyber landscape becomes a new landscape for virtual war, and it's real, and it can threaten the lives of your citizens. You cannot really ignore this anymore. So I would say, first of all, being very pragmatic, at least you can say, okay, there are new regulations coming and we need to protect ourselves. Otherwise, we will be legally responsible. On the moral side, I would say that there is another aspect. You are responsible for the people that you have inside your organization. You're responsible for the people living next to your organization or plant. You're responsible for the whole national security thing, especially if you're a part of critical infrastructure. And I think that those arguments already enough to get sophisticated budget for securing the organization. If not, it's a pity, just because it gives it makes just like those adversaries very strong, very powerful. They can do whatever they want. I think that the whole world should unite right now here and provide way more extensive advanced measures to protect themselves.
Yeah, that's very valid point in terms of geopolitical situation, and also you raise a very valid point in terms of which really catch me, that your pupil. That's how important is your first layer of defense, where the employee awareness training and all those things comes around, where you train your employees to ensure that they are not clicking any suspicious, they cannot be a victim of phishing and all those kind of campaign. And that's how it is, no matter how much security you put in your organizations. So this is the first step where you keep doing recurring countermeasures, ensure that your employees are having this kind of cybersecurity awareness training. And also, you already covered all the aspects, how important it is. And I must add that they can have a phase-wise approach where they prioritize what business they have and what infrastructure they have. On the basis of that, they can start doing a proper kind of phase-wise approach to invest some kind of budget and convince their management. Because it's very important how. So there are different ways they can still adopt that to ensure that their infrastructure is
Yeah.
secure.
Yeah,
Uh,
you should have, of course, some kind of comprehensive policy development. You should have training for your people, of course. But what I meant, first of all, that some of the attacks can really affect, okay, your turbine, right? Just like or something, and there can be an incident, which is cybersecurity incident, but at the same time, it can lead to some kinds of casualties or something like that. I think that you should care about people, right? Just like you should care about not only people you work with, but you should care about your clients. You have some kind of commitments. And it's very important for organization to stay ahead of the threats and risks. Otherwise, just like it can lead to real serious coincidence. And from my perspective, it's especially right now, it's not exactly that cybersecurity is not needed. It was not needed before, but still, I mean, right now it's especially important. It's basically like literally we are in a new era of everything, and AI and ML is not only on the side of really good people, it's also on the side of the bad people, and they utilize it and they can invest a lot of money into it. So you need to be ahead of it, or at least like be able to respond to that.
And it's very valid. Let's end on that. It's not a responsibility for the cybersecurity expert like us. It's a collective responsibility for each individual, the government, the vendors, and all those kind of organizations to ensure that we should take it very seriously, because there are, as you mentioned about after the AI, so the bad actors, they have all those tools, and we should be on our toes and to work collaboratively to ensure that we can counter these kind of measures in future. So I think we almost coming end of the webinar, and it didn't take us. I didn't realize that half hour passed so quickly, and it's so much to know from you, and it's really insightful and very knowledgeable from your